I invite you to stand as we welcome our distinguished guests. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the national anthem of Malaysia. Thank you. Please be seated. A very good morning to Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Sri Haji Fadilah bin Haji Yusof, Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia and Minister of Energy Transition and Water Transformation, representing the Prime Minister Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim. Tan Sri Datuk Sri Sir Dr. Jeffrey Cheah, AOKBE, Founder and Chairman of Sunway Group, Chair of the UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network, Malaysia. Tan Sri Datuk Sri Razman Hashim, Deputy Chairman, Sunway Group and Pro-Chancellor, Sunway University. His Excellency, Dr. Kao Kim Horn, Secretary General of ASEAN. Professor Dr. Elizabeth Lee, Chief Executive Officer of Sunway Education Group. Professor Jeffrey Sachs, President, UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network, and Tan Sri Sir Jeffrey Cheah, Honorary Distinguished Professor, Sunway University. Professor Emeritus Oolong Datuk Dr. Wu Wing Tai, Vice President for Asia, UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network, and Research Professor here at Sunway University. Distinguished guests, honorable guests of the Diplomatic Corps, media representatives, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network, Asia headquarters based here in the beautiful Sunway City, welcome to the ASEAN Workshop on Sustainable Development, or AWSD 2025, themed Accelerating ASEAN Progress on the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Ladies and gentlemen, as Southeast Asian countries seek to address the 2030 agenda for the Sustainable Development Goals, with half a decade left, we are confronted by the reality that not a single SDG will be achieved by 2030 on a global scale. While ASEAN is posed to lead the way in sustainable development, having made substantial progress on several SDGs, particularly like poverty alleviation, economic growth, and clean water and sanitation, ASEAN faces obstacles as its current systems of multilateral engagement were not designed for the complex, interconnected, and rapidly changing world of the 21st century. This somber fact serves as a catalyst for this workshop. Ladies and gentlemen, to set the tone for the workshop, it now gives me very great pleasure to call upon Professor Emeritus Oolong, Dr. Wu Wing Tai, Vice President for Asia, UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network, and Research Professor, Sunway University, to provide introductory remarks. Prof. Wu, if you please. Thank you.
Yang amat berhormat Datuk Seri Haji Fadila bin Haji Yusof, Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia, Your Excellency Dr. Kau Kim Oon, Secretary General of ASEAN, Yang berbahagia Tan Sri Sir Jeffrey Cheah, Founder and Chairman of Sunway Group and Chancellor of Sunway University, Professor Jeffrey Sachs, President of UNSDSN, and Jeffrey Cheah, Sir Jeffrey, Honorary Distinguished Professor at Sunway University. Honored guests and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to participate in the 2025 ASEAN Workshop on Sustainable Development. I start by giving thanks to Datuk Seri Fadila for his dedication to service for Malaysia by working 100% overtime on his duties. As Deputy Prime Minister, he's here today to open the workshop on behalf of our Prime Minister, who left for overseas yesterday. As Minister of Energy Transition and Water Transformation, Datuk Seri Fadila will return to Sunway University at 9 a.m. tomorrow to discuss green energy with a group of experts from China and based here in Malaysia. Datuk Seri Fadila, the people in this room are not the only ones grateful to you for your immense contributions to this workshop. I want to report to you that when Jeff Sachs, Tan Sri Jeffrey, and I met with Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim yesterday at Subang Air Force Base, he expressed great appreciation to you for serving as his proxy at this workshop. I want to also express my deep indebtedness to Dr. Kau Kim Oon for promoting my career for over 25 years. Thank you. Thank you for coming and agreeing to speak twice. I am most grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, 4 major projects of UNSDSN Asia headquarters have progressed far enough that we now seek your feedback about cost adjustment for the work going forward. The first project is the ASEAN Green Future Project, which involves 9 country teams to identify strategies for achieving net zero emissions in their countries. This work is almost done. However, as Jeff told us earlier this morning, it is not efficient for every country to be self-sufficient in green energy. For example, it is more expensive to produce solar energy in Singapore than in Malaysia, and it is cheaper to have hydropower from Sarawak than to produce solar energy in most parts of peninsular Malaysia. And the next phase of the ASEAN Green Future Project is to design a smart grid network for the ASEAN region. This will make the supply of green electricity cheaper in cost and more reliable in supply. The second project of UNSDSN that has been going well is the Leaping Over the Middle Income Trap project. The middle income trap refers to a situation where the country shows very small progress in catching up to the standard of living in the rich countries like the US and Western Europe. For example, the average living standard of the 7 largest Latin American countries was 30% of US living standard in 1950, and it is still 30% today. Chile has been called the economic tiger of Latin America. Well, Chile was at 40% of US living standard in 1950, and it is still 40% today. Malaysia today is at about 45% of US living standard, China at about 35%, and Thailand at about 30%. Both Korea and Taiwan were poorer than Malaysia in 1963, the time of the formation of this country. Now, South Korea is about 72% of US living standard, and Taiwan at 91%. Malaysia, China, and Thailand are not yet out of the zone of the middle income trap. The third project is the Education for Sustainable Development project, which designs education and training programs for managing problems of the 21st century. The Jeffrey Cheah Foundation is funding a pilot UNSDSN project to train teachers in 54 primary schools how to teach the sustainability components in the existing school curriculum effectively. The fourth project is the Science Panel for Borneo, which has mobilized over 150 scholars from Brunei, Indonesia, and Malaysia to collaborate with national and local government agencies on Borneo Island, the universities there, and local civil society to come up with plans for economic development, biodiversity protection, and progress in social inclusion. The Science Panel for Borneo is only the first phase of the much bigger Science Panel for Southeast Asia. The second phase of the Science Panel for Southeast Asia will expand coverage to Sumatra, Sulawesi, and Peninsular Malaysia, and to the seas of the Nusantara. We have to cover the seas of the Nusantara because they account for more than half of the surface area of Southeast Asia. With your support, UNSDSN will draw up a comprehensive conservation plan to prevent extinction of maritime species from overfishing, pollution, and climate change. The above 4 projects were started in 2021 in the midst of the pandemic, and they have come a long way thanks to the tremendous assistance from ASEAN governments and universities. Thanks to the Indonesian government, the Science Panel of Borneo was launched at the Indonesian Pavilion in November 2024 at COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan. Thanks to the Malaysian Ministry of Economy, some findings from the Middle Income Trap project were presented for comments in the September 2024 preparatory meeting for the 13th Malaysia Plan. I am very thankful that these projects have benefited tremendously from collaboration with many ASEAN knowledge creation centers, like, to mention a few close by partners, the Jeffrey Sachs Center at Sunway University, the Institute for Advanced Studies at University of Malaya, the Research Center for Climate Change at Universitas Indonesia, Center for SDG Research and Support at Thammasat University, Center for Academic Development and Leadership at University Putra Malaysia, and Lestari at University Kebangsaan Malaysia. UNSDSN is gratefully happy to be now working with the Institute for Advanced Studies at University of Malaya to greatly strengthen collaboration between universities in Malaysia and China. When Chinese Prime Minister Li Qiang visited Malaysia last year, the two countries agreed to establish the China-Malaysia International Institute for Advanced Studies, CMIIAS, to collaborate on pioneering research. I thank Professor Abriza Abdullah, former Dean of IAS, and Professor Ramesh Subramaniam, present Dean of IAS, for including me in their effort to set up CMIIAS. I also thank the Jeffrey Cheah Foundation for hosting UNSDSN Asia headquarters at the wonderful Sunway University in the inspiring location of a repurposed tin mine. I must express my appreciation to Universitas Indonesia for sharing coordination responsibilities with Sunway University in 3 of the above 4 projects, and to Bank Indonesia for playing the crucial catalytic role in galvanizing universities in the 5 Kalimantan provinces to participate actively in the science panel of Borneo. I would like to thank Professor Jatna Supriyana of Universitas Indonesia and Dr. Ansoka Pautralingka of Bank Indonesia for this happy state of ASEAN solidarity. The theme of ASEAN solidarity is the takeaway from my introduction as well as from Jeff's earlier presentation. ASEAN solidarity is needed not just to achieve the SDGs faster and cheaper, like in the creation of a regional ASEAN smart grid network for electricity. ASEAN solidarity is also needed to help keep peace in the world that is being fragmented by Cold War 2.0. Malaysia is the chair of ASEAN in 2025. This is the year in which the Malaysia Boleh ethos will be severely tested. It is therefore my hope that our discussions over the next 2 days will contribute to the success of Malaysia's chairmanship of ASEAN. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much, Prof. Wu. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to play you a short video now. Thank you.
Tan Sri Dato Sri Sir Dr. Jeffrey Cheah is the founder and chairman of Sunway Group, one of Southeast Asia's leading conglomerates and the founder and trustee of Jeffrey Cheah Foundation. Born in the small tin mining town of Pusing, 200 kilometers north of Kuala Lumpur, Tan Sri grew up surrounded by ugly scars caused by destructive mining activities and witnessed firsthand how poverty closed off avenues of advancement for many families. These formative experiences shaped Tan Sri's convictions that quality education offers the best route out of poverty and that sustainable development is vital to the nation's future well-being. After returning from Melbourne, Australia as a business graduate, he joined a local motor assembly plant as an accountant He turned to entrepreneurship not long after with a vision to transform 800 acres of abandoned mining lakes into Sunway City, Kuala Lumpur today, Southeast Asia's model integrated green and sustainable township. Tan Sri's business success has allowed him to realize his lifelong dream of setting up a foundation dedicated to nation building and giving back to society in an impactful way. The Jeffrey Cheah Foundation has disbursed more than 745 million ringgit in scholarships and grants as of 2024. The foundation also established active partnerships with top-tier universities, such as the University of Cambridge, University of Oxford, and Lancaster University in the UK, and Harvard University, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and the University of California, Berkeley in the US. Such collaborations facilitate knowledge transfer and make world-class expertise accessible to young people in the region. In 2019, the Jeffrey Cheah Biomedical Centre was established at the University of Cambridge as the centrepiece of the Cambridge Biomedical Campus, the largest biotech cluster outside the US, to advance biomedical research by world-leading experts. Through the foundation, Tan Sri has also gifted $20 million to the United Nations to establish the Jeffrey Sachs Center on Sustainable Development, the Asia headquarters of the UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network, and the Sunway Center for Planetary Health. Based at Sunway University, these entities are working with global institutions to further advance the sustainability agenda in this part of the world. Tan Sri is one of 4 co-chairs driving Mission 4.7, a global initiative for the United Nations that aims to mandate governments worldwide to include a sustainability curriculum in all schools from kindergarten to secondary school levels. For his extraordinary achievements and services to education, healthcare and philanthropy, Tan Sri is the first Malaysian to be conferred the Knight Commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire by His Majesty King Charles III of the United Kingdom. In 2024, Tan Sri was elected co-patron of the British-Malaysian Chamber of Commerce, serving alongside the British High Commissioner to advance bilateral trade relations between the United Kingdom and Malaysia. In 2023, Tan Sri was recognized with the EY ASEAN Entrepreneurial Excellence Award for his stalwart leadership and vision in building one of Southeast Asia's leading conglomerates. For his sterling contributions to science, technology, innovation and Malaysia's economic development, Tan Sri was also appointed a Fellow of the Academy of Sciences Malaysia, the highest scientific advisory body in the country. He has also been conferred 12 honorary doctorates by leading universities worldwide. Tan Sri is a member of Harvard University's Global Advisory Council and is only the second philanthropist in Asia to have been recognized 4 times as Forbes' Asia Hero of Philanthropy. In 2008, Tan Sri was appointed by Australia's Prime Minister an Officer of the Order of Australia, one of the country's most prestigious and highest recognitions conferred to a non-citizen.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed my great pleasure to now call upon Tan Sri Datuk Sri Sir Dr. Jeffrey Cheah, founder and chairman of the Sunway Group and chair of the UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network Malaysia, to present his welcome remarks. Tan Sri, sir, please.
Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Sri Fadillah Yusof, Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia, Your Excellency Dr. Kau Kim Horn, Secretary General of ASEAN, Professor Jeffrey Sachs, President of UNSDSN, and pardon me, our Honorary Professor at Sunway University, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sunway City, Kuala Lumpur. Thank you, Yang Amat Berhormat, Deputy Prime Minister, for being with us and delivering the keynote address. Your presence here reflects our government's commitment as Chair of ASEAN to advance the sustainability agenda in this region. My thanks as well to Your Excellency Dr. Kao and our fellow delegates from ASEAN for participating in this 2 days conference. I am also delighted to welcome back my good friend Professor Sachs and wife Sonia. As most of you will know, he was instrumental in drawing up the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, which were adopted unanimously by the United Nations in 2015. He is one man that I really admire. I always tell my friend Jeff, you got an amazing mind. You can remember all the dates and the history of events and championing and crusading for a better world, prosperous and peaceful for humanity. Thank you, Jeff. Keep up the good work. Ladies and gentlemen, unlike most of you here, I am neither an academic nor an expert. I'm just an entrepreneur, doing business with a heart, and a philanthropist committed to nation building. But one does not need to be an expert to acknowledge the threat posed by climate change, widening inequality and deepening polarization across the region and the world. In May last year, the UN Secretary General released a report on the world's progress towards achieving the 17 SDGs by the year 2030. The report, of course, was very depressing, to say the least. It appears that with only half a decade left, not a single SDG will be achieved by pardon me, on a global scale. Looking back now, perhaps the UN's lifeline for achieving the blueprint, and it titled as Transforming Our World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, was too idealistic and overly ambitious. Jeffrey, my dear friend, please correct me if I'm misinterpreting the conclusions of the UN Secretary General's report. However, despite the disturbing conditions of the planet and society, I remain optimistic and that humanity must, can, and will rise to overcome the challenges that confront us. And as a big fan of the Beatles, allow me to share the words of the late John Lennon, and I quote, "You may say I'm a dreamer, but I am not the only one," unquote. In my interaction with young people today, I'm impressed by their commitment and deep conviction to build a more progressive, a more sustainable, more inclusive, and a more equitable future. For this to become a reality, what is needed is a strong political will on the part of those in power in the public sector and a firmer commitment by the private sector to the 3 P, bottom line of people, planet, and prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, perhaps ASEAN can lead the way in achieving this aspiration. It is heartening to note the agenda laid out by the Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim for Malaysia's chairmanship of ASEAN for 2025. As the Prime Minister has said, this agenda is built around a vision of shared progress, guided by the theme of inclusivity and sustainability. It seeks to combine economic pragmatism with human-centered values to leave no one behind. The UNSDSN's Asia headquarters, based here at Sunway University, and one of only 3 such centers in the world, is fully committed to playing its part in advancing these objectives. And in this context, UNSDSN Asia is championing 3 transformative initiatives. First, the modernization and regional integration of energy and electrical systems. This is essential for decarbonization and economic growth. And I understand that the ASEAN Green Future team, led by UNSDSN Asia, is making great progress in building pathways to connect, develop, and leverage renewable energy resources across the region. Second, the protection of planet's biodiversity. This must be anchored in sustainable agriculture practices, land rehabilitation, and innovation that ensure the preservation of our natural ecosystem. Third, building and enhancing the regional economic infrastructure to achieve ASEAN's vision of creating an integrated single market and production hub. Ladies and gentlemen, and allow me to share some aspect of what we are doing here in Sunway in terms of achieving the sustainability agenda. Sunway has fully embraced the 17 SDGs and incorporated them in our business practices and decision-making processes. We are firmly committed to the 3P bottom line of people, planet, and prosperity. As we say here in Sunway, we can all do well by doing good. Sunway Group's commitment to the net zero agenda places us as the first corporation in Malaysia and among the first in Asia to implement a robust internal carbon pricing framework. Our business division that fail to meet their decarbonization targets are penalized by having an amount deducted from their bonus pool. I am also delighted to share that our experts at the Jeffrey Sachs Center on Sustainable Development and the Sunway Center for Planetary Health, both housed here at Sunway University, work closely with UNSDSN Asia to advance the sustainability agenda in the region. And let me emphasize here that in monitoring all this, it is not my intention to be boastful. In doing what we are doing, I hope that Sunway can inspire more corporations in the region to commit themselves to the sustainability agenda. This is very much aligned with my personal motto, which is, I aspire to inspire before I expire. And ladies and gentlemen, I have always believed that each of us should have a higher purpose in life. For me personally, that purpose is to give back to society in an impactful way and building a better world for our future generation. And as I mentioned earlier, corporations can play their part in advancing the sustainability agenda by adopting the 3P bottom line of people, planet, and prosperity. This would help broaden their focus from the financial bottom line to include the interests not just of the shareholders, but all stakeholders. These are the customer, the supplier, employees, and the local communities. At Sunway, we firmly believe that no corporation can live apart from the communities it serves. Our efforts here are driven by the conviction that realizing the 17th SDG is not the responsibility of the government alone. Building a sustainable future requires the commitment of all segments of society. That is, the private sector, the academia, civil society, and of course, every one of us here. We are all in this together, ladies and gentlemen. In closing, I would like to thank Professor Wu and his team at the UNSD ASEAN Asia for organizing this important summit to advance the SDG. I wish you all a productive and fruitful discussion in building a better tomorrow for the world and for our future generation. Thank you very much.
The youth of today are always in search of extremes, but it's by maintaining balance that we truly find happiness. Which is why I'm here in Iskandar, Malaysia, to meet with a man that's taken balance to the extreme. By maintaining 40% of local flora and fauna, Sunway has ensured a beneficial harmony between natural surroundings and nurturing experiences. That's right.
Hi, Nick.
You've done it again. I mean, what inspires you? This place is beautiful.
Well, Nick, education is the best way out of poverty. And it is crucial, very, very crucial that we give to our younger generation. I believe that for sustainable development of a nation, it is education. Sunway always lead the way. We walk the talk, and I believe in that very much.
More than 12,000 trees are being tended to in this tree nursery. For every tree removed in the development, one or two more are put back in their place. And naturally, all this hard work stops at the source, the Pendus River. This is the lifeblood of the place, which is why Sunway is working really hard to maintain the water quality, which means the animals and plants that call this place home can continue to live in harmony here. And the lessons learnt can be applied elsewhere in Malaysia. Today, Sunway, tomorrow, the world.
Thank you so much, Tan Sri Sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed truly honored to have with us this morning Professor Jeffrey Sachs, President, UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network, and Sir Jeffrey Cheah, Honorary Distinguished Professor, Sunway University, to set the context for the workshop. Please do join me in welcoming, if I may, an old friend to us at Sunway, Professor Jeffrey Sachs, to speak at a venue which I believe has now become the top 3 in Jeff's itinerary of favorite venues. Professor Sachs, please.
Deputy Prime Minister, Secretary General of ASEAN, Tan Sri Jeffrey Cheah, President Sabrandis, other dignitaries and luminaries, which is all of you. Again, what a wonderful occasion and a wonderful opportunity for brainstorming. Some of you heard me an hour ago talk about some of the important themes, but I would emphasize, most importantly for us today, the theme of ASEAN taking the lead across this region. And I also need to apologize. I kept saying the ASEAN 10 countries this morning, and of course it's 11 now, with the Timor-Leste joining. Do I understand that correctly? Coming, on the way. Not quite yet. When will it happen? Okay, good. Well, 10 and a half, and in gestation for the 11th. This is a remarkable region. We saw pictures of the beauty of the region and the leaders who are committed to protecting the beauty of the region, the human remarkable cultures of this region, and the astounding biodiversity. and the intellectual leadership as well. With Malaysia hosting and being president of ASEAN in 2025, I think there are opportunities for tremendous breakthroughs. As you heard, SDSN is working very diligently, very intensively on the connected themes of transformation. The energy transformation, which we know to be central for a safe planet in the years ahead, is a region-wide necessity and a region-wide commitment. And I want to thank the team for the ASEAN Green Future. We'll be hearing today and especially tomorrow a presentation of the results of that work. This brings together teams from across ASEAN in academic centers in 9 of the countries and gives an opportunity for making a common breakthrough. The ASEAN Secretariat is intensively working in this area, and we'll also hear tomorrow another very important, I think, pivotal group for this region, which is GuideCo, China's initiative for energy interconnection. GuideCo stands for Global Energy Interconnection Development Cooperation Organization, and the China State Grid many years ago created GuideCo based on the lessons of China's own experience, which is to power China in a sustainable way means moving the electrons over long distances, because in Western China, there's great solar energy, great wind energy, great hydroelectric power. The major population centers tend to be on the eastern coast. And so what was needed within China was a vast, integrated, smart system. And GuideCo took the expertise from China and is working with regions around the world to help identify the best pathways for regional scale integration. SDSN is very honored to work with GuideCo on this mission globally and regionally, and tomorrow we'll have the chairman of GuideCo with us, together with the SDSN's own initiative, together with the work of the ASEAN Secretariat, to see how in this year, while Malaysia has the presidency, a commitment can be made to roll out the full infrastructure that will be needed. As Professor Wu just told you, another major theme is the knowledge economy. This is fundamental for Sunway, obviously, for Tan Sri's leadership. It's fundamental for Malaysia. Professor Wu depicted it in the context of the middle income challenge. What is the difference of middle income economic status and high income status in the world? It is the knowledge economy is the essential difference. It's the quality of education, and the quality of education translated into advanced technologies and innovation systems. Professor Wu said, the issue hangs in the balance. Will that breakthrough be made? I'll give you the answer, yes. So you can have a lot of optimism. This is an extremely dynamic region, and it's a region that has understood that the essence of economic development for the long term is the advance of knowledge and its application in technology. And I would say that we're here with the Vice President of SDSN for Latin America, also Emma Torres. And we know in the Latin American region, this is also a big challenge, because Latin America is a region that was middle income 40 years ago, and it remains middle income today. And one of the shortcomings of that 40-year period was on the education and technology front. Latin America grappled with many, many issues during this period, but it did not make the breakthrough to the forefront of technology in many areas. This region will do so, but that's the hard work of quality higher education, which is the essence of Sunway's mission and challenge, and the transformation of that educational achievement into breakthroughs in technology. We're in the midst of the greatest technological revolution in history, most likely. What's happening day by day, month by month, we've never seen anything quite like this. For me, a measure of this is that 2 of the Nobel Science Prizes this year went for artificial intelligence. And I'm especially tickled by the fact that the Nobel Prize for Chemistry went to somebody who is not remotely a chemist, but he's a very good programmer. And so he applied artificial intelligence to accomplish what generations of biochemists were not able to do with their cutting-edge tools, and that is protein folding. And Demis Hassabis, the co-founder of DeepMind, who a most remarkable company, who found out how to be the best at Go, the best at chess, and the best at protein folding, all within a short period of about 8 years, won the Nobel Prize for Chemistry. Now, this is the advance that promises us the potential breakthroughs across the board into new levels of prosperity, sustainability, and solutions to age-old problems, whether it's in health or in other areas. And ASEAN will be in the forefront of that. I believe together working closely with China, I hope working closely with the United States and Europe, but in the forefront. So this is the second area of our work. And the third, which Professor Wu mentioned, is, in addition to the energy and the knowledge economy, the protection of the unique biodiversity of this region. Again, if I may point to the work of Emma Torres, she helped to establish in Latin America a science panel for the Amazon, which quickly brought together hundreds of leading ecologists across South America in the Amazon basin countries to look comprehensively at what needs to be done to protect that unique ecosystem. The work was inspiring. The scientists volunteered their time remarkably. They produced essentially a multi-volume study within a little over a year, the first scientific assessment of the Amazon that was comprehensive that had ever been done. And on that basis, we have taken the inspiration, and colleagues here based at Sunway are leading the work for a science panel for biodiversity across the ASEAN region, starting with Borneo, but as Wing explained, in other ecosystems as well. So this is phenomenally important work. You know, with all the troubles that we have, and with a world that is sometimes so confused and insensible that we're spending our time on war and on the military and on destruction, we're also at the brink of breakthroughs that are unimaginable in terms of prosperity, new ways of education, advances in healthcare, solutions to agriculture, solutions to so many challenges. And I think 2025, despite all the noise and all of the confusion, for this region will be a year of profound breakthrough. I am very confident that Malaysia, with its presidency of ASEAN, will make a profound contribution. And I'm absolutely convinced that the ASEAN Secretariat, which is working very hard and very diligently on a vision for this region for the coming generation, will see a powerful vision come to light. So thank you all for the opportunity for this workshop and for the great chance to brainstorm together in the next 2 days. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Sachs. Ladies and gentlemen, to share with us the ASEAN perspective, please do join me in welcoming His Excellency Dr. Kao Kim Horn, Secretary General of ASEAN.
YAB Dato Sri Haji Fadila bin Haji Yusuf, Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia and Minister of Energy Transition and Water Transformation. Professor Jeffrey Sachs, President Sustainable Development Solutions Network, and Tan Sri Sir Jeffrey Cheah, Honorary Distinguished Professor, Sunway University. Tan Sri Dato Sri Sir Dr. Jeffrey Cheah, AO, Chair of ASEAN Malaysia, Chairman of Sunway Group, and Chancellor of Sunway University. Professor Emeritus Ulung Dr. Wu Wingtai, Vice President for Asia, UN SDSN. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is indeed a great honor for me to be here today at the ASEAN Workshop on Sustainable Development 2025. I would like to start by expressing my heartfelt gratitude to the Sustainable Development Solutions Network and Sunway University for organizing this event. Your unwavering commitment to promoting dialogue and collaboration on the vital issue of sustainable development is truly commendable and merits full support. Sustainable development is no longer merely an aspiration goal. It is an existential imperative and a catalyst for innovation, growth, and progress in shaping the future. In recent years, it has gained unparalleled momentum as nations and organizations confront the pressing challenges of climate change. Of course, we'll heard so much about this. Biodiversity loss and social inequality. In 2023, the United Nations adopted the SDG Summit, political declaration reaffirming the commitment to achieving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and scaling up efforts to address the climate crisis. From innovative financial solutions to transformative policies on climate adaptation, nations are advancing towards greener and more equitable economies. As we move into 2025, the urgency of collaborative multilateral action to achieve the SDGs has never been more pronounced. These global imperatives set both the stage and the challenges for ASEAN as we pursue sustainable and inclusive growth. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the cascading crises we face, from conflict to economic stagnation, from deepening inequalities and the intensifying effects of climate extremes, are challenges that resonate deeply with many of us here. They are compounding the difficulties we face in achieving sustainable development for nearly 700 million people in the ASEAN region. The challenges before us are stark and immediate. While ASEAN's population growth has moderated, our urban centers are projected to increase by 1.5% by 2050. Our forest coverage has declined to 46%, while climate impacts threaten to push 2.5 million additional people into poverty by 2030. We face mounting pressures from record temperatures and climate disasters, persistent healthcare barriers, food insecurity, and widespread informal employment. The 2019 Southeast Asia Primary Learning Metrics which involves 6 ASEAN member states, revealed concerning educational disparities across the entire ASEAN region. Yet, ASEAN's resilience and progress also tell a compelling story. Our combined GDP of $3.8 trillion in 2023 position us as the world's 5th largest economy, with projections to reach 4th place by 2030. Our robust trade, valued at $3.5 trillion, nearly equals our GDP. Intra-ASEAN trade at 21.5% of total regional trade continues to drive our economic integration. Foreign direct investment has surged to $230 billion in 2023, established ASEAN as a premier global investment destination. In social development, ASEAN has made significant strides in poverty reduction, education, public health, gender equality, and the overall well-being of our citizens. As of 2022, ASEAN achieved a remarkable 95.1% adult literacy rate. Women now occupy 29.2% of managerial positions across the workforce, and 19.5% are represented in their respective national parliaments. We also recognize that sustainable development is closely linked to the digital revolution, which drives innovation, efficiency, and inclusivity in tackling environmental challenges. The digital landscape within ASEAN is expanding rapidly, with internet usage reaching 76.8% in 2020. Of course, probably a little more now. We are also accelerating our transition to renewable energy sources and playing an increasingly crucial role in global biodiversity conservation. Our initiatives include planting at least 10 million trees, 10 million native trees over the next decade, in alignment with the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration, and expanding the network of protected areas through the ASEAN Heritage Parks Program. At the moment, we have more than 60 parks, ASEAN Heritage Parks, across the entire 10 ASEAN member states. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to now highlight some of the key advancements and initiatives we have made in the areas central to this workshop: education, environmental stewardship, dynamic trade and investment, energy, and smart, sustainable urban development. In education and human development, ASEAN is actively integrating technology through initiatives like the Roadmap on Digital Transformation of Education Systems, which aims to ensure equitable access for all learners. The Vientiane Statement on Equity, Access, and Environment, Advancing Climate Resilience in Early Childhood Settings, emphasizes the importance of early childhood education alongside environmental care. Additionally, the recently adopted ASEAN-Sumio Joint Declaration on Common Space in Southeast Asian higher education will strengthen regional higher education by fostering inclusion, innovation, and sustainability. Our environmental commitment manifests through concrete action. The ASEAN Center for Climate Change coordinates regional climate initiatives, while the ASEAN Agreement on Transboundary Haze Pollution and its accompanying roadmap demonstrate our resolve to combat environmental challenges. The forthcoming ASEAN Coordinating Center for Transboundary Haze Pollution Control will strengthen these efforts. Through the ASEAN Center for Biodiversity, we actively advance the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework and the ASEAN Biodiversity Plan. To foster a dynamic and responsible economic environment, ASEAN has embraced several strategic frameworks to promote sustainability. These include the ASEAN Strategy for Carbon Neutrality, which identifies decarbonization solutions tailored to the region. The Framework for Circular Economy for the ASEAN Economic Community, designed to enhance resource efficiency, build resilience against supply shocks, and mitigate the impacts of resource depletion and price volatility. And the ASEAN Blue Economy Framework, which promotes an integrated and sustainable approach to harnessing the value of resources from oceans, seas, and fresh water, while creating value-added products and strengthening value chains. In the energy sector, ASEAN has pursued a concerted strategy to increase the share of renewable energy in our energy mix. Energy demand in the region is projected to increase by 3.5%, the 2022 level under the current baseline scenario. To accommodate this surge, secure and reliable electricity infrastructure is vital. The overarching vision of the ASEAN power grid is crucial to facilitate and maximize renewable energy potential and enhance energy security by facilitating cross-border interconnections. In fact, our ASEAN economic ministers in September last year decided to pursue the ASEAN power grid to ensure that the oversupply in certain areas should be able to channel and use in other areas. This aligns with the goals outlined in the ASEAN strategy for carbon neutrality. To advance our smart and sustainable urban development, ASEAN Smart City Network and ASEAN Sustainable Urbanization Strategy connect our cities and provide a platform for them to share best practices and catalyze opportunities. The ASEAN has expanded membership to 31 cities, while the ASEAN Sustainable Urbanization Strategy has provided technical assistance to cities in managing urban challenges. Under Malaysian chairmanship this year, more concrete activities are planned to expand engagement with all stakeholders. Despite ongoing challenges, ASEAN's foundational strengths position us uniquely for the future. Our demographic dividend, natural resource abundance, and strategic location, combined with our steadfast pursuit of international cooperation, create powerful momentum for sustainable development. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, looking ahead, the ASEAN Community Vision 2045 and its accompanying strategic plans set for adoption this year will provide a clear roadmap for accelerating sustainable development. This is for the very first time in the history of ASEAN that we will have the 20-year vision, something that we have not done before. But this is something that we embarked for some time already. And this year, under Malaysian chairmanship, our leaders expect to adopt this 20-year vision along with the 4 strategic plans. The 3 principles embodied in the vision, which I term as peace, prosperity, and people, will guide us towards a more sustainable and equitable future. Peace forms the bedrock upon which our region's prosperity can flourish. By fostering dialogue, nurturing trust, and resolving conflicts amicably, we build lasting stability. Prosperity includes social inclusion, environmental sustainability, and fair distribution of growth dividends. People are at the heart of sustainable development, with investment in our human capital and empowerment of our communities being essential to realizing our shared aspirations. Strong partnerships with all stakeholders within ASEAN and with our external partners will be key to transforming this vision into reality. I would like to take this opportunity to share my thoughts on how we can align and harmonize our efforts to further advance this critical agenda. First, the ASEAN Community Vision 2045 calls upon us to strengthen ASEAN's global leadership on sustainability. Our partnership with the United Nations has been pivotal in strengthening the synergies between the ASEAN Community Vision 2025 and the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. This alignment is embodied in the Complementarities Initiative 2020-2025, endorsed at the ASEAN UN Summit back in 2016. With the forthcoming ASEAN Community Vision 2045, we are preparing to launch the new complementary initiative, and which is 2.0, to continue our contribution to global sustainability efforts. Second, our sustainability agenda demands intensified action across green value chains, circular economy initiatives, and decarbonization efforts. We will leverage sustainable finance, advance the blue economy, and enable business transition to greener practices. Our approach includes establishing robust emissions tracking mechanism, expanding green financing access, and strengthening policy frameworks. The development of interoperable carbon market and exploration of carbon capture technologies will help balance economic growth with environmental stewardship. Third, in this era of rapid digitalization, it is essential that we shape the digital transformation in an inclusive and sustainable manner. With over 480 million active internet users, ASEAN's digital economy is poised to reach $1 trillion by 2030. To sustain this momentum, ASEAN is working to finalize the ASEAN Digital Economy Framework Agreement, DIFA, before the end of this year, which is projected to unlock up to $2 trillion in economic value by 2030. And I think here during the Malaysian chairmanship, we expect that this agreement will be finalized, included during this year. I think this is going to be one of the major outcomes within this year. This vision requires deeper regional integration to facilitate seamless business operations and ensure efficient, secure digital services. Our efforts include advancing initiatives in digital trade, e-commerce, e-payments, digital IDs, cybersecurity, and the governance of emerging technologies. Fourth, investing in human capital remains the cornerstone of our sustainable development agenda. And as I, of course, certainly congratulate and express my appreciation to Sunway University under the able leadership of Professor Cheah, because university plays a very important role here. By continuing to invest in education, skills development, and healthcare, we are empowering ASEAN citizens to thrive in the 21st century. The ASEAN Declaration on Human Resources Development for the Changing World of Work underscores our commitment to improving skills and fostering public-private partnerships. Gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls are also ASEAN's top priorities. Last year, we published the second edition of the ASEAN Gender Outlook, which provides critical data to ensure accountability for gender-related targets within the SDGs. Fifth, ASEAN's youth, comprising 1/3 of our population, are key to realizing the SDGs. Empowering our youth with comprehensive support is absolutely essential. We must equip them with the skills needed for the green and digital economies, encourage them to be innovators in addressing ASEAN's challenges, and empower them to lead and shape the future for our region. Finally, our shared commitment to multilateralism, the rule of law, and a rule-based international order is increasingly vital. By fostering international partnerships based on this principle of openness, inclusivity, transparency, and mutual respect, we can create an environment that supports sustainable growth and development. The ASEAN Outlook on the Indo-Pacific, AOIP, serves as a key framework for enhancing cooperation and connectivity across our dynamic region. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we stand at this pivotal moment, charting ASEAN's course for the next 2 decades, this workshop serves as a crucial platform for collaboration and innovation. Our success demands a comprehensive approach to sustainable development. Our approach must prioritize sustainable financing. We must mobilize resources through innovative means like green bonds, blended finance, and impact investment. We must also actively engage the private sector and explore philanthropic support. Equally crucial is the need to fill the data gaps. Strengthening data collection, analysis, and dissemination will foster a culture of data-driven decision-making process across the entire ASEAN community. While resource intensive, filling these gaps is essential for effective and targeted efforts. And most critically, we must address the imperative of strengthening partnerships. The interconnectedness and complexity of the SDGs necessitates a collaborative approach. By forging a robust and enduring partnership among governments, civil society, the private sector, academia, we can leverage our collective strengths to generate innovative solutions. Particularly, I invite the SDSN to work in tandem with the ASEAN and its sustainable centers, such as the ASEAN Center for Sustainable Development Studies and Dialogue, to pursue synergistic solutions for achieving the SDGs. Your global network and vast repository of knowledge will be truly invaluable in our journey towards sustainability. Looking ahead, the SDG Summit 2025 represents a pivotal milestone for all of us. It offers an opportunity for ASEAN to showcase its progress and demonstrate the strength of our collective efforts towards sustainable development. This is a critical moment to reaffirm our commitment to the global SDG agenda, and of course, certainly to exchange best practice and align our priorities with the broader international community. As we prepare for this summit, let us work together with renewed determination to ensure that our actions today will contribute to a more resilient, inclusive, and sustainable future for all of us. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, ASEAN's commitment to sustainable development remains unwavering. Our collective capacity to overcome challenges and achieve the SDGs will forge a more prosperous, inclusive, and resilient future for all. In closing, let me express my sincere appreciation to the organizers, the SDSN, Sunway University, particularly Professor Wu and his team, and of course all the participants of this workshop. Let us work in concert with steadfast resolve to build a sustainable future for ASEAN. With that, I thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for outlining the challenges, initiatives, and strategies impacting the SDGs through the lens of ASEAN. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege and honor to now call upon Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Sri Haji Fadilah bin Haji Yusof, Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia and Minister of Energy Transition and Water Transformation, representing the Prime Minister, Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim, to share with us the Malaysian perspective.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Wish me and peace be upon you. And very good morning to all. Thank you, Mr. MC. Your Excellency, Dr. Kao Kim Hoon, Secretary General of ASEAN. Yang berbahagia Tan Sri Datuk Sri Sir Dr. Jeffrey Cheah, Chair of UN Sustainable Development Solution Network, or SDSN Malaysia. He's also the Chairman of Sunway Group and Chancellor of Sunway University. Professor Jeffrey Sachs, President of the UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network. And Tan Sri Sir Jeffrey Cheah, Distinguished Professor at Sunway University. Professor Wu Wing Tai, Vice President in charge of SDSN Asia Headquarters at Sunway University and Research Professor at Sunway University. Distinguished leaders of ASEAN, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to represent the Right Honorable Prime Minister of Malaysia, Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim, at this ASEAN Workshop on Sustainable Development. Prime Minister Anwar conveys his apologies for being called away at the last minute on an official visit
to the Middle East, but he sent his appreciation to Tan Sri Sir Jeffrey Cheah and Professor Jeffrey Sachs for this kind invitation, and also his best wishes for a successful workshop. We gather today under the shared banner of regional cooperation and progress. I'm humbled by the privilege Malaysia has to assume the chairmanship of ASEAN in 2025. Our theme for the year ahead is one of sustainability and inclusion. This aligns perfectly with the theme of the AWSD 2025 that is accelerating ASEAN progress on the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. To this end, Malaysia has an opportunity and indeed a responsibility to chart a bold course for the future of ASEAN in its journey towards realizing the Sustainable Development Goals. To accelerate our course, Malaysia will champion 3 transformative initiatives: energy decarbonization, biodiversity protection, and economic connectivity. These efforts are not only vital to achieving our shared development goals, but will also position ASEAN as a global leader in sustainability and resilience. Our first priority is the transition towards a low-carbon interconnected energy grid powered primarily by renewable energy sources. This transformation is not just an environmental imperative, but a strategic necessity. It is key to meeting our decarbonization targets while ensuring energy security across the region. To achieve this, we must engage in strategic analysis and road mapping to assess current and projected energy demands, identify renewable resource capacities, and evaluate existing transmission infrastructures to address gaps. I'm delighted to hear that this work is already ongoing right here at Sunway University under SDSN's ASEAN Green Future Project. I'm closely following its progress and eagerly await the pathways it will present for ASEAN countries for the mutual benefit of all. The ASEAN Green Future Project is a framework of regional cooperation. Apart from addressing infrastructural needs, it also involves harmonizing policies, tariffs, and regulation to enable seamless cross-border energy trade. Building capacity among ASEAN nations in clean energy technologies must also be prioritized to ensure the successful implementation of these systems. Successful implementation brings many benefits, not only decarbonize our energy system, but also position ASEAN as an attractive destination for high-tech industries and investment, driving economic growth alongside environmental sustainability. Our second priority is the preservation of ASEAN-rich biodiversity, an invaluable asset that sustains life and livelihoods across our region. However, some of our world's highest rates of deforestation and habitat loss happening is in our own backyard, compelling us to act decisively to reverse these alarming trends. We hope that under Malaysia's chairmanship, we can strengthen the ASEAN Center for Biodiversity to coordinate conservation efforts, harmonize national policies, and establish a biodiversity protection treaty that commits member nations to sustainable land use practices. I wish to congratulate SDSN on the launch of its Science Panel for Borneo, Southeast Asia at COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan. Borneo is ASEAN's treasure. It is part of our natural heritage and of tremendous significance as a carbon sink for the world. Well managed, it also presents many opportunities to create economic opportunities through ecotourism, sustainable agriculture, and innovative bioeconomies. Let us in ASEAN lead the global conversation of ecosystem conservation and show the world that biodiversity conservation is not just an urgent climate change response, but is also socially impactful and economically viable. Our third priority focuses on the development of integrated modern infrastructure to strengthen ASEAN's economic integration and connectivity. A connected ASEAN is a stronger ASEAN. Some of the initiatives that we should be actively exploring include high-speed rail development to link major ASEAN cities, green ports and shipping, and universal 5G access across urban and rural areas to bridge digital gaps or digital divides. This will no doubt involve massive investments in infrastructure, and we need to explore innovative financing mechanisms, such as through public-private partnerships that can attract both regional and international investments. By enhancing our infrastructure, we can reduce barriers to trade, foster economic growth, and position ASEAN as a global leader in connectivity and innovation. I am very pleased to know about the SDSN project, leaping over the middle income trap to accelerate regional economic development by deepening ASEAN economic cooperation on industrial upgrading and by working with the rest of the global south to prevent the fragmentation of the global trade and financial systems. The economic developmental objectives of ASEAN would require a united ASEAN to play an active mediative role in global affairs. So, ladies and gentlemen, Malaysia is committed to pursuing this initiative with vigor and determination. These priorities reflect our shared aspirations for a prosperous, sustainable, and interconnected ASEAN. But achieving these goals require collaboration between governments, the private sectors, and civil society. It demands that we leverage our collective strength as a region, embracing innovation, resilience, and inclusivity. So let us move forward together, not only as community of nations, but as stewards of a better future for all. The road ahead is challenging, but the rewards, a thriving, sustainable ASEAN, are well worth the effort. I'm certain that this ASEAN Workshop on Sustainable Development 2025 will generate many workable solutions, and we in the Prime Minister's office look forward to its outcomes. I wish you all a most productive days ahead. So thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister. If we could indulge you to kindly remain on stage. Thank you so much, sir. And invite you to the center of the stage. We'd like to take a group photograph on stage. We have a marker on stage. Thank you very much. May I humbly invite His Excellency Dr. Kao Kim Horn to stand on the right of the Deputy Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, please bear with us as we organize this. This is as complex as negotiating ASEAN countries. Next, can I invite Professor Wu Wing Tai to accompany Yang Bahagia Tan Sri Datuk Sri Sir Dr. Jeffrey Cheah. Tan Sri, could you please stand on the left of the Deputy Prime Minister? And Prof Wu to stand on the left of Tan Sri. Next, can I invite Professor Jeff Sachs up on stage? Professor Sachs, if you could kindly stand on the right of His Excellency Dr. Kao. Can I have next Tan Sri Razman up on stage, sir? Tan Sri Razman, if you could stand on the left of Prof Wu. Ladies and gentlemen, there are many thorns on stage. To have a rose on stage, it gives me great pleasure to invite Professor Dr. Elizabeth Lee to stand next to Professor Sachs, please. That is the complete list. So if you want to take your cameras out, let's get ready to take some pictures. Way up there, the top of the venue, we have some more cameras. Thank you so much. May I invite our distinguished guests to exit the stage. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the next part of our ceremony this morning, as you can see, I've lost my comfort zone. They've taken away my rostrum. I feel very naked. What we're going to do next is we're going to take a group photograph of every one of you here in the venue. Let me get out of the way. And this will be done with cameramen who are on stage. And I've been given very specific instructions. Just like if we go to a dentist, we have no gaps in our teeth, so there should be no gaps in the audience. If you have an empty seat, could you scrunch up and move up and fill up those empty seats so that we don't have any empty seats in the hall when the group photograph is finally taken? Are we all in? Can we fill up the empty seats and all those on the sides to scrunch up? Can I ask our camera crew, do you need everybody to stand up at some point? If the cameraman cannot agree, we will be here till 2 o'clock. Maybe seated first. Last row stand up. Wow, okay, so could we get the last row to stand up? Because you might not be seen from way down here, yeah. Thank you very much. Now that concludes the opening ceremony. Can I invite our Deputy Prime Minister and distinguished guests in the first row to kindly exit my left, please. For the rest of our guests, thank you so much. Lunch is served We are on time and on schedule. We are expected to return to this venue at 1:30. Lunch is served. Kindly use the exit on my right, please. Thank you. Exit on my right, please. Lunch is served on this floor in the corridor on your left. Yeah, so please head down using the exit to my right, please. Thank you.